before your name was ever spoken in their circle, before your picture was ever passed around in that quiet conversation, I had already placed something holy upon you. You are not just seen by eyes, you are felt by spirit. You are noticed because I have made you noticeable, not for attention, but for assignment. They didn't just glance at your photo, they paused, they looked again, and then they said something that surprised even them. There's something about this one. I can't explain it, but I feel it. That something was me. That spark in your smile, that softness in your presence, that sense of peace they felt just looking at you, that was my anointing. That was my light shining through your stillness. It wasn't your pose. It wasn't the background. It was my glory resting on you, and they saw it. Comment below, Lord, I trust that who you've chosen for me will see me through your eyes. Because what's happening now is divine. You thought maybe they'd forgotten you. You questioned if they even remembered your name. You prayed quietly, Lord, do they still care? You whispered, was it all just in my head? But I heard that whisper. I caught that tear. And today, I'm answering you. This message is not by chance, it's not random. This is me, confirming what your soul already sensed. They didn't just see a picture, they felt something powerful. Because what I've placed in you cannot be unseen. And now, my child, everything is beginning to shift. Yes, they saw you. But more than that, they felt you. They saw your picture, yes. But it wasn't just your smile or your eyes or your clothing that caught their attention. Something deeper happened. Their spirit paused, their heart shifted. Something inside of them became still, even for a moment, because your presence carried something more than the natural. They couldn't explain it, but they felt something real, something weighty. They didn't expect to feel peace just by seeing an image, but they did. And that, my child, was me. You don't have to do anything loud to be noticed when I'm the one who makes you visible. You don't have to chase, prove, or pretend. Because when I place my spirit upon you, others will recognize it, even if they don't fully understand what they're seeing. Some connections I create without effort. Some hearts I stir without a word spoken. And in that moment, when their friends looked at you, I whispered something into their soul. This one is different. This one carries purpose. This one is not like the rest. And they couldn't unsee it. What they felt wasn't surface level. It was me revealing your value in a quiet, unforgettable way. You've been praying, asking, wondering, will I ever be seen the right way? This is my answer to you now. You are already being seen, not for how you look, but for what I've placed inside you. You are already being felt, not for what you show, but for who you truly are in me. They sensed it, they saw it, and now something in them is beginning to shift. Because I've touched their heart using yours. They didn't expect you to be so real. They've seen so many pictures before yours, images that seemed perfect on the outside but carried no real weight. Photos full of smiles, yet empty of truth. Expressions that looked confident but had no spiritual strength behind them. They had become used to that. They were used to polished appearances that meant very little. They were surrounded by people who knew how to look the part but not live it. People who could pose but had no presence. People who drew attention but lacked depth. People who wanted to be seen but not truly known. So when your picture came before them, it was a disruption, a divine interruption. Because it wasn't just another picture, it was different. Because you are different. My presence was already ahead of you. I was already in that moment before your picture ever reached their eyes. That's why they couldn't scroll past. That's why they paused. That's why they stared a little longer. They couldn't just laugh and move on like they normally do. They couldn't just toss out careless comments. Even their friends, the ones who normally make jokes or speak without thought, couldn't. They had to admit it. This one is different. There's something about them that's not like the rest. And that awareness changed the atmosphere. What you didn't see in that moment is how quiet everything became around them. How their mind began racing, but their spirit grew still. They didn't say much, but they were thinking deeply. They were wondering, why do I feel peace just looking at this person? Why does this feel different? What is this tug I feel in my heart? They didn't expect you to be real. Because they've known too many who weren't. They've seen too many images that didn't match the spirit behind them. But with you, there was alignment. What they saw in your face matched something they didn't even know they were missing in their heart. What they felt wasn't staged. It wasn't manufactured. It was authentic. And that's because I made you that way. I crafted you in quietness. I built you in seasons of silence. I shaped you with truth, not performance. You weren't made to impress. You were made to carry my presence. And even though you didn't know they were looking, I made sure they would see. Because when I place my light inside someone, it doesn't need to shout to be noticed. It simply shines. So yes, they went silent. Yes, they sat in stillness after seeing you, because what they saw wasn't just beauty, it was me reflecting through you. And now, they're wondering. They're curious. They're unsettled in the best way, because I've started something. And what I start, I always finish. Let them wonder, let them feel it. Because I'm still working. Why you? Because I prepared you. You're wondering why me, Lord? Why would you allow them and their friends to see me like that before anything even began? Because I do things differently. I do not follow the steps that man expects. I write my own timing. I design the journey, not just the outcome. And when I bring someone into your story, I always start with purpose. Their friends seeing your picture, that was not an accident. It was a quiet introduction, hand-delivered by my spirit. You didn't even know it was happening, but I did. I planned it. I placed you before them, not to impress, but to awaken something inside of them. I've been working in the background of your life. I've been preparing your heart with patience, teaching you to walk with grace when no one was watching, building your strength when you felt unnoticed, and covering you with dignity when the world tried to label you with lies. You've been hidden, but not forgotten. You've been set apart, not left behind. While others were rushing to be seen, I was setting you apart so that when you are seen, you are unforgettable. What happened in that moment wasn't about your appearance. It wasn't about the clothes you wore or the way you smiled. It was about what I've been forming within you, the quiet confidence, the steady spirit, the peaceful presence that reflects me. Now that they've seen you, something has shifted. You've been planted in their awareness. You've been placed in their thoughts. And no matter what they try to say or ignore, they can't unsee you. Because it wasn't attraction. It was recognition. They saw something familiar. They saw something that felt like home. Because when I prepare a connection, I leave signs. And now they're beginning to notice those signs. Don't question your worth. Don't question your timing. This didn't start today. I've been preparing this for longer than you know. And the reason it's unfolding this way is because you are ready. I've made you ready. What their friend said afterward. They didn't just compliment your looks. That would be far too shallow for what I've placed inside of you. Their words went deeper than appearance. They noticed something that couldn't be edited, posed, or faked. They said things like, "She seems peaceful, like someone who carries calm into a room. He looks like someone who listens before speaking. She's not trying too hard, and that makes her even more beautiful. He seems like he knows pain, but didn't let it make him bitter." Do you know what that was? That was my spirit gently whispering through their voices. It wasn't rehearsed. It wasn't planned. It was me confirming something deep within them, using people they least expected. You see, I often use the mouths of unlikely people to say what needs to be heard. Their friends don't even realize they were prophesying over your life. They didn't fully understand why they said what they said. But I placed those words there because I know how to stir hearts in subtle, powerful ways. They were not just making random comments. They were echoing what I've been speaking to the one I've chosen for you. It just hadn't reached their mind yet. But their spirit already knew. That small comment, that thoughtful pause, that conversation after the picture was shown, it planted something in them. A seed. That seed is growing. It's been watered by quiet thoughts, by sleepless wonderings, by prayers whispered without full understanding. They're starting to see you differently now. Not just as someone who crossed their path, but someone who carries meaning. Someone who may actually be part of their future. Yes, they are beginning to question everything they thought they wanted. They've started asking questions they never asked before. Why can't I forget that face? Why do I feel peace just thinking about them? Why did my friends say those things like it was nothing, but it felt like everything? Because I've placed you on their path for a reason. You weren't meant to be a quick moment. You were meant to shift something. You weren't shown to impress. You were shown to awaken. They may not say it out loud. Not yet. They're still figuring it out. They're still trying to connect the dots. But deep inside, something is becoming clear. They're starting to believe, this might be the one. This might be who I've been praying for, even when I didn't know how to ask for it. So don't be discouraged by the silence, because I am speaking through moments that seem quiet. And I am using their friends to say what their heart hasn't yet found the courage to speak. You're already in their heart's conversations. You may not know it, but they're thinking about you more than you can imagine. They talk about you now, not always with loud words, not always with bold expressions, but with quiet interest, with subtle longing. You've become a thought they return to, a memory they revisit, a name they keep near, even when they don't speak it out loud. When their friends showed them your picture, it was more than just a moment. It was the beginning of something sacred. That image stayed with them. It stirred something deeper. It cracked open a part of their heart they didn't even know was locked. You became the thought that won't go away. Not because of your beauty alone, but because of the peace you carried. Because of the weight your presence carried without even trying. Now, they find themselves remembering the way you looked, not for vanity, but for meaning. They replay your smile. They wonder what it would sound like to hear your voice in person. They ask themselves questions they never asked before. What kind of person are they really? What do they pray about? Could this be someone I could build a life with? They don't always share these thoughts out loud, but I hear them. Sometimes they whisper your name in their heart. Other times they just mention a someone, and that someone is you. Because I've placed you in their spirit, not just in their sight. They pray now, even if they don't admit it. They pray for clarity. They pray for courage. They pray to understand why your image lingers, why their friends keep bringing you up, and why their heart seems to soften every time your name comes to mind. Sometimes they scroll back, not to stalk, not to idolize, but because they feel something pulling them to look again. It's not obsession. It's not distraction. It's divine curiosity. A gentle nudge from my spirit, reminding them not to ignore what their soul is feeling. Because I don't write careless stories. I don't stir hearts without reason. When I bring someone into your thoughts over and over again, when I allow your image to return again and again in their conversations, that means I am speaking. I am working. And right now, you are already part of their internal dialogue. You are already in the prayers they pray when they're alone. You are already part of the story their heart is trying to understand. So don't think they've forgotten. Don't assume they've dismissed you. The truth is, they're just learning how to handle what they're feeling. Because you've entered more than their thoughts. You've entered the sacred space of their heart. And I'm not done writing this story. Don't rush it. I'm doing something holy. I hear the questions rising in your heart. God, if they've already seen me, if they already felt something, if their friends noticed, why haven't they reached out? Why hasn't anything happened yet? Let me answer you gently, child. Because what I am building is not just ordinary. It is holy. I'm not just creating a moment. I'm shaping a divine connection. You may feel like you're ready. You may wonder why it feels like delay. But the truth is, I am still working behind the scenes. I am not late. I am not silent. I am strategic, and I am patient, even when you feel impatient. Some things must be matured before they can be released. Some hearts must be softened before they can handle the weight of love I'm preparing. Some minds must be renewed before they can recognize the kind of partner I've shaped you to be. If I had allowed them to come too soon, you may have settled for a shallow version of what I intended to be sacred. If they had rushed in before being fully prepared, you would have experienced confusion instead of clarity. So I'm taking my time, not because you're forgotten, but because you are deeply valued. Because what I am doing requires care. Let me work on their heart. Let me teach them to lead from a place of wisdom. Let me develop in them a heart that can protect yours. Let me train them to love you like I do, with patience, with purpose, and with purity. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to send signs, drop hints, or try to figure out how to be noticed again. You were already noticed by me. Now, you must remain. Remain in peace. Remain in faith. Remain in position. Because I'm not finished. I'm weaving something far greater than a relationship. I'm building a testimony, a divine story where timing is sacred and purpose is revealed step by step. And when the time is right, when both hearts are ready, not only will they reach out, they'll come with intention. Not with confusion, but with clarity. Not with doubt, but with peace. You'll know it's me because you won't feel the need to rush or question. It will flow, it will settle, it will speak without shouting. So rest, my child. Don't panic, don't overthink, don't chase a moment. Wait for the miracle I'm still forming. Because what I'm doing in the quiet is too holy to interrupt, and too beautiful to be rushed. Their friends will confirm what I've already spoken. Let me tell you what's coming next, child. The same friends who first saw your picture, the same ones who paused, looked again, and whispered, "There's something different about this one." They will be the very ones who speak again. But this time, they won't be wondering. They won't be guessing. They'll be sure. They will say you made the right decision. They will say we could see it from the beginning. They will say we knew there was something about them that stood out. Because I do not move without confirmation. When I assign you to someone's life, I confirm it again and again, not to impress, but to assure. Not to entertain emotions, but to ground the soul in truth. And I will use voices around them to echo what I've already planted in their heart. Even people who don't fully walk with me yet will feel the truth of my choice. You won't have to argue your worth. You won't have to defend your value. Because their spirit will already know that what they're feeling is not just affection, it's alignment. That this isn't random, it's revelation. That you weren't chosen by popularity or pressure, but by purpose. When that moment comes, you won't need to explain yourself. You won't need to ask, do you think they're sure? Because their heart will be settled, their eyes will see clearly, and their peace will speak louder than any words. I chose you, not by accident, not by mistake. And when my divine plan unfolds fully before their eyes, even their friends will know. You were not sent by man. You were not a coincidence. You were a confirmation. You were mine, all along. Stay ready, my child. Stay in position, stay in faith, because what I've started is already moving toward you. You may not feel it every day. You may not see the pieces shifting, but I assure you, they are. When I open a door, I do not knock. I open it wide, suddenly, clearly, fully. There will be no confusion, no second guessing, no begging for clarity. The message will come, and it will come with peace. The connection will align, and it will carry stillness, not chaos. It won't feel like pressure. It won't demand explanation. It will simply make sense, because it will be me in the middle of it. You won't have to try and make them understand your worth. You won't have to send reminders of what you bring to the table. You are the table, because I built you with purpose. What I put together, I do not abandon. I water it, I protect it, I grow it in my perfect timing. Yes, you've waited. Yes, you've been patient. And now I'm asking you to believe that your waiting has not been wasted. You are not behind, you are not forgotten, you are not overlooked, you've been prepared, you've been equipped, and now you're being positioned. The light that their friends saw in you, they weren't imagining it. They were catching a glimpse of what's to come. You don't have to chase love. You don't have to prove yourself. You just have to stay ready. Because when I speak to their heart, when I confirm to their spirit, when I stir their courage to step forward, they will walk into the very light they once only saw in a picture. And this time they won't just see it, they'll feel it. They'll know it. They'll choose it. So don't grow weary, don't get distracted, don't lose hope because it feels quiet right now. I haven't changed my mind, I haven't forgotten my promise. I'm just finishing the details because I want it to be more than good. I want it to be holy. Stay ready, because soon the door will open and everything will make sense. Lord, help me trust your timing. Heavenly Father, thank you for this divine message. Thank you for speaking so gently and clearly into my heart. Thank you for reminding me that you are involved in every detail of my story, even the ones I cannot see yet. You are not distant. You are not silent. You are always moving, even when I feel still. Lord, I confess, sometimes I struggle to wait. Sometimes I grow anxious and start questioning the process. But today, I surrender those feelings. I lay down every fear, every doubt, every urge to rush ahead of you. Help me to stay anchored in faith, not shaken by uncertainty. Help me to see the beauty in your timing, the kind that doesn't move too fast or too slow, but always arrives right on time. Let me not miss what you're doing just because it's happening quietly. I ask that you continue stirring their heart. Prepare them just as you are preparing me. Shape them into someone who will love with intention, lead with wisdom, and walk in peace. And while you work, help me to be still. Help me to trust the process, even when it's silent. Help me to believe that what you've planned for me will never pass me by. Cover me with patience, clothe me in purity, guard my heart with your peace. And when the day comes, the day you decide it's time for the connection to unfold, may we both see it clearly. May we both recognize the fingerprints of your hand over every step. May we both say with full confidence, this was God. In Jesus' powerful and precious name, amen.